Special thanks to Teller of Tall Tales for allowing us to narrate their story. Damien kissed his son goodnight between the soft, fuzz-covered antennae on his forehead. Though not related by blood, he loved his adopted son like he'd fathered him. The small moth-like luminar's deep black pupilless eyes looked up with a slight hint of fear as his father stepped over to turn off the light. "Papa?" the small voice inquired hesitantly, making Damien look up. "What's up, Thorm?" Thorm squirmed slightly in his solar-patterned comforter, a look of consternation on his small, fuzzy face. "Are we really safe from the Allied empires? We were learning about it in school today and—" Damien's blood ran cold for a minute, traumatic memories from his childhood reeling in his mind. But he put them from his head. Hearing his kid trail off, he gently walked to Thorm's bedside, cybernetic leg hissing softly as he eased himself down onto the floor. He gently pulled his teary-eyed son into his arms and patted the delicately folded wings on his back. "Hey, chin up, kid." As Thorm's 4 spindly arms wrapped around his torso, Damien considered his words carefully. Feeling his son start to sniffle, he gently pulled him back by the shoulders and looked into his eyes. "May I tell you a story, Thorm?" Thorm nodded, sniffling quietly, trying to be brave for his dad. Damien nodded, softly beginning. "It starts off with a simple quote, something my father told me like I'm telling you now." Damien chuckled softly and stated, "We sleep peacefully in our beds because rough men stand ready to do violence on our behalf." Buildings burned, the sounds of terrified screams almost drowning out the cacophonic roar of plasma weaponry and overcharged slug throwers. I ran like I had never run before. A small, yellowish, and spherical egg wrapped in a soft blue cloth was clutched to my chest as I ran. The look on Ms. Myrna's face as she pushed it into my arms still seared in my eyes. The terror, the fear, the uncertainty. But it didn't slow me down. Instead, it spurred me on, forcing my burning legs and tattered bare feet to drive into the ground even faster. I was small, I knew that. I was only 10, but I had to make sure the thaumaturge's unhatched child made it to safety, even if I didn't. A shout in a foreign language, the squeal of a plasma rifle, and suddenly I was tumbling, turning in the air and skidding painfully to a stop on my back. I looked at the egg frantically and almost breathed a sigh of relief when I saw it was undamaged. Pain. It hit me like a speeding box truck and I let out a scream, lifting my left leg with horror as I realized that everything from just above the knee to below had been vaporized. Fleshy, charred tatters were all that remained. I began to cry as a hulking figure in deep purple and gold power armor marched up slowly. "Please," I begged, crawling back as fear swamped my being, an arm protectively covering the egg still clutched to my chest. The figure raised their plasma rifle, muzzle still steaming from the previous shot, as an armored finger curled back onto the trigger stud. A barking, muffled sound I could only describe as a laugh coming from beneath the helmet. "Please!" I shouted and squeezed my eyes closed. Whoosh, crunch, crash. A wash of heat and a cacophony of noise assaulted my ears as I protectively hugged the egg to my chest, sobbing fearfully. A gentle, warm hand touched my shoulder, and I flinched away, looking up into the concerned face of a woman with short, cropped black hair and cropped urban camouflage fatigues. A small name tag simply labeled her as Roxanne. The woman gave me a small, gentle smile and looked to the side, making an urgent gesture as a man in dark armor sprinted over, a fishbowl helmet swinging from his belt as he slung a satchel onto the ground near my leg. I slowly looked over to where the power-armored Geknosian was slowly pulling themselves from the rubble of a galactic brick wall. The chest plate of their armor buckled inwards. Roxanne must have seen the look of pure terror on my face as she set a reassuring hand on my head and ruffled my hair. "Sit back and watch, kid. We'll handle it from here." She stood to her full height and began marching towards the Geknosian, bringing up her fists like an old-timey boxer. There was a flash of rage on her face as she marched straight up to the discombobulated Geknosian soldier. "It's about time you genocidal lizards pick on someone your own size." The words were cold, punctuated with a punch that distorted the air as it made contact, a sonic boom rattling my teeth as the Geknosian was slung back through the building and out of sight. Roxanne followed close behind, tearing brick walls down with her bare hands as she pursued the soldier. My mouth hung open in shock and awe. A new image burned forever into my mind. One of a dark-haired, fatigue-clad woman winding up for a brutal jab at an opponent twice her size. "That's Roxy for you, kid? Warmongers? A rough bunch, aren't they?" The medic offered jokingly as he applied a quick-set Medigel to my stump. I remembered then the words that my father had always told me. "Rough men stand ready." The medic chuckled softly. "That we do." Tharm looked up at his dad in wide-eyed wonder as Damien gently got to his feet and opened the curtains to reveal a brightly lit street, the window auto-darkening to Thorm's taste. He gestured at the young-looking man with an M40 carbine who stood like a sentinel on the street corner. A small gaggle of human children playing a game where they'd try and stick a magnet to his back without him noticing. Even though the warmonger was facing away, Damien knew there was a soft smile on the man's face. "Thorm, I'll make you the same promise Roxanne made me. If you're ever in danger, just shout for help. And no matter what, no matter where, rough men will rush to your side to do violence on your behalf. Because that's what warmongers do." Damien slowly closed the blinds, looking over and realizing that Thorm had fallen into a peaceful slumber. He chuckled softly and snuck to the door, whispering, "They stand ready."